Welcome to DBS Insights for Business Leaders. My name is Chong Lim, and I'm DBS Global Head of Real Estate. Today's focus is on a much debated topic, the future of retail. The three key themes we want to explore about the evolving retail landscape are: firstly, how is e-commerce in Singapore different from the region? Secondly, the dominant malls concept in Singapore. And last but not least, what are our landlords and tenants' plans for the future to adapt to the ever-changing consumer needs and behaviours? The DBS research team will provide our thoughts around these themes. And we have also invited leading landlords and tenants in the retail ecosystem to share their views. Before I hand you over to our panel, here are some questions to ponder on. As a consumer, do you go to a mall only to shop? Or is it also a place where you gather and unwind with your family and friends? As a retailer, is your business and cost structure suitable for e-commerce, and will you operate solely online? As a landlord, how can you collaborate with your tenants to co-create a sustainable retail ecosystem for a better future?
COVID-19 has turned out to be both a reset button and a great leveler. While many have called for the death of physical retail malls, we do not subscribe to this thought. The move towards online shopping has been ongoing for a while, with COVID-19 being a catalyst for greater adoption going forward. We believe that online sales are here to stay and will be part of everyone's lives going forward. Retailers and landlords are seeing the importance of being digitally engaged with consumers. Retailers will have to start thinking about having an omni-channel presence, while landlords have to adapt in order to consistently curate the mix. An example will be offering themes to continue to bring shoppers back to the malls to shop. Let's look at the growth of e-commerce in the region. The Asia Pacific is one of the biggest markets globally, more than Europe and North America combined. While we see an acceleration in adoption in the next 3 years, we believe that countries like Singapore will see a slower pace of increase, unlike what we see in China, US, or even Europe. By 2023, Euromonitor forecasts that retail sales in Singapore will increase to 13% of total sales, up from 9% currently. This means that for every $100 of sales, $87 will still be at the stores. One key reason why is because malls in Singapore are well frequented and already convenient by design and location. This is due to our high population density and geographic footprint. Within Singapore, while mobile e-commerce will rise, we are seeing only selected categories rising more than the rest. Beauty products, personal health trade categories are projected to rise to about 44 to 67% of total sales online. The limitations for faster growth in e-commerce in Singapore is in fact that logistic costs are expensive, given our smaller scale and lower online penetration. As such, the growth of e-commerce will take a different form in Singapore, and we believe that brick-and-mortar retail malls are key in the overall ecosystem. We then believe that both online and offline platforms can be complementary, as different platforms are required for different products.
I would say that in terms of the online adoption and also the e-commerce trend, we have to bear in mind a few things when we compare between countries. I would say Singapore is pretty unique. So when we look at the size of the country versus the number of shopping malls that we have, I would say that the accessibility of shopping malls in the urban population is at a level which serves very well the catchments within the different areas, micro markets in Singapore.
In Singapore, the infrastructure is first class. So as a result, you can stroll outside your home and you can reach a lot of conveniences and whatever is triggering your momentum for e-commerce. So whether it's a supermarket, or is it an essential item, or a pharmaceutical item, you could find a space quite quickly.
We need to look at e-commerce and physical stores as both being in a symbiotic relationship. They cannot stand apart from one another anymore. And so that's why you have click and collect, where you buy something on the internet, but you may want to pick it up in the stores because you want to see it before you collect it. You may want to change it for something else while you're in the store. So it gives that flexibility. It gives us the flexibility also because The customers in the store, we can always show them something else. We can show them something that goes with the blouse that they bought. We can show them a wallet that matches the handbag. So it gives us an opportunity to upsell the customer also if they want.
During the circuit breaker months, we saw a lot of consumers going towards online due to the lack of brick and mortar presence during those 2 months. Very shortly after the phase 2 reopening, the online to offline platforms played a very significant role in enabling the shoppers to plan their trips to the shopping malls a lot more efficiently. So I would say that when we look at how these two platforms, from online to offline, have been interacting with each other, there's definitely a halo effect which we can definitely see between these two modes of distribution and also touch points. I don't think that we will ever reach a stage where it's 100% online or back to 100% offline. It will definitely be in equilibrium.
When you look at the overall retail landscape, e-commerce is definitely growing strong, right? Very, very high CAGRs. But what you see is that the e-commerce share of the overall retail pie is still very small in a lot of markets, especially in Southeast Asia, right? It's a single digit, right, in terms of overall percentage share, right, of the overall retail portfolio, which is really, I think, the number one key reason of why we expanded offline, right? Because we saw that, hey, you know, as a brand as well, if we want to get more market share, we will need to also expand further. So that was number one, right? Number two as well, we thought that, you know, it's a really, really good way to also get more exposure, right? To also acquire newer customers through the right catchment areas, right? Assuming we have the right locations as well. Number three, I think where we saw there was good value as well would be also from a brand awareness and brand positioning standpoint.
I think the lower the price point, and that in accessible luxury, it becomes easier to transact online. So the confidence is there to take the leap into buying the product without trying it on. And if you give them the assurances to return in exchange, that can move the speed of the adoption much faster. What we've also seen is that at the high end, it becomes more of a guarded purchase. So you want to go and touch, feel, try on, versus just jumping into it. Unless there's a caveat, it is limited edition, it is highly sought after, and it is something very, very desirable and a known value item that they can get their hands on.
The noodle costs $5, but the delivery costs another $5, $10. Then you find that it may not be so economical. So I would say that people won't mind come down, take away.
Singapore's small geographical footprint and master planning ensures that the commercial space, especially retail, is seldom speculatively built. The future growth of retail real estate will come in the suburbs on the back of Singapore's decentralized strategy. This is fueled by strong population growth as new homes are being built and new decentralized offices ride on a future trend towards work, live and play. Some of these include the Punggol Digital District, Northern Tech Corridor, the Great Southern Waterfront and Jurong. These are new key town centres of economic activity where we expect more than 20,000 new jobs to be created. While retail is impacted, not all will be disrupted in the same way. We would like to introduce the concept of dominant malls in Singapore. Over time, we believe they possess characteristics that will enable these malls to ride through and hold a fort against challenges. While we have more than 100 malls in Singapore, we identify only 12 to 15 malls with these dominant characteristics. And these are: number one, location and accessibility. We tend to see these malls located at interchanges as it allows them to capture traffic beyond their primary catchment. Number two, operational scale. Sizable malls allow landlords to offer diversity in their tenant mix. Lastly, experience curation. Content is critical in driving traffic and sales, resulting in stronger performance and sticky occupancies.
Yeah, number one, then always for us would be location, right? Because for brick and mortar versus e-commerce, I think the part that you cannot control, right, would really be that location. right? Pretty much, is that location giving you the right audience? Not sometimes the most audience, right? But the right audience, right? Is it the right people that have very good synergy and overlap as well with who your brand wants to speak to?
I think traffic is critical. The second thing that I think that landlords need to treat their retailers as equals versus just a financial relationship in terms of who is able to pay the highest dollar of rent. I think this is a critical component for success. The third thing that relates to this is their curation of precincts within the mall, and not just taking the highest dollar by bringing in maybe something that's not as relevant as something else.
I think at the end of the day, malls have to have diversity, they have to be different from each other as well. Each mall should strive to have its own identity. Landlords need to work a bit harder to try and find new concepts and to try and tempt tenancies with terms that everybody can agree on and everybody will accept and be comfortable with. Listen, everybody has everything already. So at this point of time where people are looking for an excuse to buy something, having interesting concepts or different concepts in malls will pull people into them.
For CapitaLand, because we have a network of 19 shopping malls across the island, retailers definitely have a lot of choice when it comes to choosing where they would like to be. So in times like this, what we find is that shopping malls like Ion Orchard, which has a very clear positioning, will not be easily replaced by other shopping malls, because where luxury shopping is concerned, the environment and also the ability to put together a mix that is pretty unique is critical. And they will come to Singapore because they know that at Ion Orchard, they will be able to find these brands within 1 or 2 floors of their shopping.
One of the key features, I think, of a dominant mall in the future is indeed to be sustainable. At Lendlease, sustainability has been a core value all these years, and it's something that we hold very dear and very important. Lockdowns have led to clearer skies and also cleaner air, and we have seen the impact of humans on the environment. So the mall of the future, I think, should be a mall where there's good clean air and there's sustainable features that will ensure that shopping is healthier and also it's a very pleasant experience to be walking around the malls. PLQ, for example, we have 100,000 square feet of green public space. It's like a green lung, right? And it allows not only our own shoppers, but it allows anyone in the community who comes to the mall and to our precinct to be able to enjoy the greenery and to be able to cycle, have fun, and that's something that we like and we hold quite dear, to create community spaces. I know placemaking is now quite the buzzword these days, but placemaking has all the while been the key tenet in Lendlease's philosophy. Having an outdoor atrium in Paya Lebar quarters also ensure that the atrium is well used by everyone who frequent the mall, and remembering always that the retail will always be quite the hub of all kind of social activities in an integrated precinct.
The future is one that hinges on close collaboration between landlords and retailers to establish new retail experiences and concepts that pull crowds into the malls. This makes them the center of activity within their respective town centers. Humans are social creatures and crave social interactions. If retail malls are convenient or have the right concept, theme, and tenant mix, they will continue to draw crowds and sales. Technology has enabled landlords and tenants to adopt various concepts that engage consumers holistically, both online and offline. Some of which include flexible retail spaces, omni-channel presence, and click and collect models that have worked to varying degrees of success.
I think the consumer has decided that they don't want more of the same. They need to be entertained a little bit more. Their experience needs to be elevated. They need to be tempted in different ways. I think if we use a historical playbook of build stores or sites and expect the customer to come simply by being visible, I think that's not going to work anymore. I think in retail environments, the excitement needs to be there, the innovation needs to be there, the energy needs to be there. That's going to keep the customer curious and keep coming back for more.
Picking the right strategy or touch points that make sense for our community, right? To really build up, that long-term connection and bonds, right? So when we think of our customers, for example, right, from first jobbers, right, students perhaps, right, to women, I guess, who are also first-time mothers, right, for example, really catering to each of that life stage, right, not just through assortment, but through an emotional connection, meaning providing them the right content, right, to support them through that process.
The definition of omnichannel varies from time to time. I think what is important to note is the primary concept of omnichannel is the availability to purchase online or purchasing online in a store and vice versa. So I think that it is an important component for certain types of businesses, but I don't think it's a must-have, it's a nice-to-have.
A lot of times, I guess, as a fashion retailer, and maybe in our category specifically, you can't escape sort of the beauty, right, or the positive and the upsides of also offline retailing, right, specifically for fashion, because end of the day, consumers do want to touch and try the products, right, and a lot of times you can have the best AI tools, right, to actually do sizing, to recommend you the right item, but it doesn't get past a lot of the fitting, right, and issues, I guess, that consumers also do want to go offline for.
I'm looking at in the future whether the food court may shape in such a way that there's a flexible sitting area. That means I can straight away configure, take out all the chair table, become a queue, manage the queue. So that's one way I'm looking at in the future, how we can shape the food court. We can do things like economy of scales in the future to actually collaborate with all the tenants to have a central procurement, for example.
In our view, the next leap in adoption will be shopper intelligence and retail automation, retail aggregators, and potentially the concept of mini central kitchen as more consumers prefer to eat in the comfort of their homes. The first two concepts of retail aggregators and intelligent systems put convenience in the hands of the consumer. For example, operators have jumped on the online bandwagon and launched online malls. This allows for purchases to be aggregated at the mall and delivered at one go. An interesting concept to watch out for is the potential rise of mini central kitchens or cloud kitchens within malls, especially in the dominant ones. We believe that malls, by virtue of their convenience and catchment, makes them attractive hubs for delivery platforms. While traditional central kitchens are located in industrial areas with lower rents, operators can bring in this concept with a spin to attract footfall. Overall, we believe that it is important to view the future retail ecosystem as one that integrates both online and offline. Succeeding in one but failing in another will not suffice and will not be ideal for both retailers and landlords.
We are very fortunate to be one of the forerunners in new market concepts and probably first to the market kind of tenants. Nothing is more relevant now in this market than during the COVID time. We can explore omni-channel shopping experiences, and we are fortunate to have our tenants such as Love Bonito and also Pomelo, for example, having their flagship brick and mortar branch right in our malls, and that has enabled our shoppers to enjoy a different kind of experience where there's a great combination of online and offline presence amongst all these tenants. We have also won the Grange Road car park, so that will be a good test bed and platform for us to be able to try out a new concept in a very youth-oriented area, and then we are able to ensure that the retail scene is kept vibrant as possible.
I think as a real estate player, we must be open for all kinds of different concepts. End of the day, whether these are cloud kitchens located in shopping malls themselves or located in other parts of Singapore, it will be the market that determines what kind of retail trades that will continue to survive and thrive well within our retail network. So in this respect, what we need to do is to really understand how a ghost kitchen would fit into the new norm of consumers' behavior. So it is not unthinkable that in the near future, perhaps instead of having many sit-down restaurants, there could be a zone for ghost kitchens to serve. Because through the use of technology, such as our Capital Treats platform, whereby you can order, you can self-pick up and have it delivered to your home, there could be a zone even within the shopping malls whereby you can be served through the use of such platforms to order the food, and you can meet up with your friends and have a social dining zone. So these are constantly evolving concepts that we are definitely keen to discuss with retailers about the best use of space.
Clearly, what we have seen is that there will be a new equilibrium in the retail ecosystem that reflects the symbiotic relationship between landlords and tenants. Based on what we have heard from our interviewees, the retail landscape in Singapore is unique given our compact size and population density. Dominant malls will remain relevant and resilient, with increasing collaboration between landlords and tenants to establish new retail experiences and concepts. E-commerce will grow and reach a new equilibrium, and brick-and-mortar retail will continue to change and evolve. Both platforms can be complementary, as different platforms are required for different products. Experiences, the touch and feel, and the sense of community still matter. In addition, the economics of e-commerce, including delivery costs and returns, may not work for all retail goods. As an interviewee has shared, it does not make sense for you to pay a delivery cost of $5 for a meal of just $5.
As a consumer, I want convenience, variety, and products that resonate with me. Equally as important is my retail experience. A mall is also a place for my gatherings with family and friends. As one of the interviewees aptly puts it, retail malls will always be a hub for social activities, and placemaking is key in ensuring that the mall remains a special place that brings everyone together. The retail ecosystem belongs to all of us: consumers, retailers, landlords, and logistics providers. Times of change present opportunities for us to come together to create a stronger, more resilient retail ecosystem with sustainability brought in on all fronts: the environment, the business, and the experience. With this, we thank you for joining us, and we hope you have gained some insightful perspectives. Stay tuned for the next one in the series. Till then, stay safe and see you again.